Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Denver Gridiron and Hoops. We're back at it again. I'm David McDougall. This is VMAC, Vinny McDougall. Tell me, VMAC, what's cooking on your side?
Oh man, it's a new year. We got playoffs on the horizon. We got the Nuggets winning with or without their stars. So times are good, And as we head into the new year, I'm always giving budget tips out. This is what I do. You're actually looking live at one of my budget tips right here. So, don't invest in turning up your thermostat, people. Invest in, a nice little winter hat, maybe some wool socks. I don't know if wool socks are a thing. I just wear regular socks, but grab some blankets. Don't turn the heat up, especially if you got kids in the, they're fine. Just put a blanket on them; they'll be good. But outside of that, ready to talk some Denver sports.
So, what you're saying is you're walking around with some PPE on, some personal protective equipment against the weather in your house.
For those that work in the field, you know what some PPE is. So yeah, just take care of yourself, right?
Hey, you do what you gotta do. And speaking of doing what you gotta do, we got the Denver Broncos here needing to take care of business as the number one seed against the visiting Bills this weekend. Tell me, what are your feelings on the game so far?
We broke it down a little bit. We talked about whether it be Chargers or Bills and gave a little bit of insight into both teams. And sure enough, we have to find a way somehow, some way to limit Josh Allen. We're not going to stop Josh Allen. I don't care how good of a defense we think we have. He is that guy. And there's a couple different ways we can break the game down. So if we start with the Bills, it starts and ends with Josh Allen. We want, obviously to limit his run game as much as we can. It'd be great to, hold him, I'd say, under what? 50 yards rushing? Maybe that's too many. We could hold him under 30 yards rushing, we'll say. Because, sack yardage obviously is included in those rushing yards. So I'm going to go hold the man under 30 yards rushing. Let's hold Cook. Don't let him cook. Let's hold him under, we'll say, 75 yards rushing. Again, I don't know if that's too high to equate to a win, but that's where I'll start out here is what our defense needs to do. Hold those two and don't let the other cooks who you haven't heard of since your fantasy team from like 7 years ago. I'm talking about Brandon Cooks, who all of a sudden is on like probably 10 different NFL teams. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but probably not. He's finding a way to be a deep threat for Josh Allen all of a sudden these last few games. So don't let the cooks cook and find a way to limit Superman or whatever you want to call him. That's kind of my defensive side. We can cover offensive side, but curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I told you previously that this was the one team on both sides of the bracket I did not want to see. That being said, do I think we can beat them? Yes. Do I think that it will have a positive effect on our playoff trajectory? Yes, because we'll get over that hurdle of them, punching our faces in last year. So I think it for them it's like kind of a chip on the shoulder that they're trying to hammer out, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
On the bright side, the Bills are knocked up, and I'm not talking to them like they're expecting. I mean they're beaten up. Even Josh Allen, people thought that maybe he broke his fingers on a certain play in the game, and he was beat up quite a bit by the Jags. Thank you, Jags. But other than that, they just have a lot of guys that are on the mend and hurting. Tyrell Shavers, I know he's just kind of a depth wide receiver, but he went on the IR during that win against the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard that Curtis Samuel was probably out, but from what I'm seeing, I don't know, because it says injured reserve, but it says Samuel was a full participant during Tuesday's walkthrough. So apparently he's probably going to be playing. Tamar Hamlin, he was a limited participant, so maybe he'll play. Jordan Phillips, their D tackle, is straight up on the injured reserve. Big boost for them. They're getting back Ed Oliver, or at least he's been practicing. So that could be a big boost for them. And it looks like it was actually Gabe Davis was the other wide receiver that got
Yep.
placed on the IR. So I was mistaken on which WR it was. But they have a lot of injuries other than that. Matt Milano's hurt. Greg Rousseau's hurt. AJ Espinez is hurt. Even Prater's got questionable. Dalton Kincaid, Terrell Bernard. Like, they have a lot of guys on this injury report. I'm not even hitting all of them right now. So that is a good sign for us, because most of the times when you get to the playoffs, it's who's healthiest. And other than that, obviously it's going to be skills, but it helps that they are already beat up. The advantage I see with specifically Josh Allen being hurt is that he's maybe not going to be able to get the ball out in 2 seconds like everyone's been doing to beat the Broncos. He's going to get to that third step and twinge a little bit, miss his receiver, and then next thing he knows, Benito's going to be breathing down his neck. So that's my hopes, at least. I am afraid of this offense, which everyone should be. They can put up 40 at any point in time. And they have 2 very good tight ends, which the Broncos struggle against. So I do have concerns, but that doesn't mean that I don't think they can get it done.
Yeah, agree with everything you said. It's late in the year. No matter who we would have faced, so we had the possibility of, Texans, Chargers, or Bills. Do you want to see the Texans right now? Because they look like world beaters too. So if you want to advance this late in the year, you're going to play a good team, and you have to play solid football the entire game. We can't have a quarter or a half like we saw last year against the Bills, where you don't play solid football. So we've seen them play against this Bills team on the road in the playoffs last year for a full half and play with them. And I would argue that our team is much better than that team that went up to Buffalo last year. So we'll see offensively what we can get done. We kind of broke down what the defense needs to do offensively. You and I talked about this a little bit. From my perspective, I would love to see more design runs from Bo Nix, or I think, to your point, maybe late scrambles that aren't design runs, but he's still just trying to use his feet to make things happen. No different than what Josh Allen does. Not comparing him to Josh Allen's running ability. I think Bo's probably a little faster, but he's not running dudes over. That's just not his skill set. There's very few that can do that. Josh Allen's obviously one of those guys. So I would love to see the offense have more Bo Nix running, which also reduces his passing attempts. He doesn't need to throw the ball 50 times. I sure hope he doesn't throw the ball 50 times. Unless, of course, we win, then I'll take it. Outside of that, I think Evan Ingram can and should be a matchup problem. Like, get him out there on some linebackers and let him go to work. Again, if we have to scheme that, or if we just put him in situations, do some things we haven't seen all year. Line him up in the backfield. Put him in a bunch. Things that we haven't seen all year. I'm really hoping Sean Payton pulls out and we're like, wait a minute, what is this wrinkle in the offense? That's what I'm excited to see. So I would say Bo running, finding a way to get Evan Ingram more involved, and then seeing what bag of tricks Peyton brings to the playoffs, because, there's no more holding anything back. You got 2 games to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I personally think that there's certain things that I'm interested to see how the Broncos are going to handle. So, like, for example, Vance Joseph, how is he going to handle the new wrinkle that the Bills have added with the tush push? We have not faced it. We maybe saw it a couple times against the Eagles. I don't even recall seeing them do it against us. But with Josh Allen back there, the tush push, I mean, that thing can be deadly. And I don't know about you, but I'm sure Josh Allen is sitting there thinking, Patrick Mahomes isn't in the playoffs right now. This is my year. So we'll see how we can handle that. Excuse me. And then the other thing that I'm kind of curious about is if Sean Payton's going to beat himself or not. Is he going to run the ball? Because this defensive front has proven that they will give up 150-yard rushers. They will give up a lot of rushing yards. And are we going to allow ourselves to kind of play call ourselves out of this one? Because if we control the play clock, if we control the line of scrimmage and those, just the little things that win football games, I really do think that we're going to come out on top. That being said, do I want to see wrinkles? Yes. Do I want to see kind of creative play calling? Yes. It's the time of year where anything that you have that you think is going to work, any play calling that you've seen that perhaps didn't work for another team on footage against the Bills, but you see it and you think you can accomplish it because you think their defense will cover a certain formation a certain way, please, let's do it now.
Yep, no time left. And the other thing that I want to see is what we saw kind of mid-season. Saw it a little bit later in the season, but mid-season, just extremely aggressive on fourth down. Don't get conservative. You have this defense. Josh Allen is going to put up points. I highly, highly doubt we're going to win a 17-13 battle against Josh Allen. Like, you're going to have to score points to beat him. Yeah. We saw it against the Jaguars. Obviously, the Jaguars, I'm not saying their defense is on the level of what we have. And, they have some growing to do on their side. But we have to put up points, and one of the ways to do that in modern NFL is to gamble. And, midfield plus territory, I don't want to see, even if Lutz can make it, like if it's 4th and 3 or less and plus territory, just go for it. Do it. This is it. Yeah. And live with the results. That's the thing that, I think coaches can sometimes be afraid of. Obviously, Detroit's coach can care less what those results are, but make the call, go into your bag of tricks, and go for the win.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's put up or shut up time. I definitely don't want us to be put in positions where we give him, say end a half, it's 4th and 3 on the 50-yard line, and they decide to punt it. Josh Allen's going to score in 2 minutes. Let's just go for it. Like, we need those reasonable choices because, think about it. If you punt it, he'll score in the full 2 minutes. If you don't punt it and you don't make it, he'll score in a minute, and then you get a minute. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way I see it, at least. And I honestly see this as kind of the biggest test. If we can overcome this hurdle, then, not to discount the other teams, but this is the only team in the playoffs right now on our side of the bracket that kind of has that, veteran playoff experience and like has been there, has a perennial contender, if you get what I mean. So that is why I want to just make sure to punch them in the mouth and then kind of establish the rest of our postseason run.
Yeah, they're, it's no Mahomes and it's no Lamar Jackson. Both of those teams have given the Bills fits in the past, and that's why, you hear some people saying Super Bowl or bust. For me, the only, person on the hot seat Bills wise would be that head coach. If they get ousted again, like, what is that guy doing there? Okay. How many chances are you going to give him with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and reigning MVP? So for me, it's not like a Super Bowl or bust for the Bills type situation. Josh Allen's got plenty of years ago, but I think that head coach, if Sean Payton out coaches him, he might be saying goodbye. Like, yeah. Look at Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, both won a Super Bowl, right? And I know it feels like ages ago. They're gone, and somehow this dude still has a job. If they lose again, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he'll be head coaching vacancy number 10. Isn't that kind of crazy?
That's a lot.
I tell you what, I'll take Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I don't know if Peyton can let go of control. It seems like a little bit of a control freak. But hey, I wouldn't be mad at it.
You know how Mike is. He'd show up to the interview and he'd be like, "Sean, I hung 70 on you."
You don't remember that?
He's
That
all,
was a turning point for our franchise in
he's all,
VJ's career,
yeah,
actually.
he's all, do I even need to interview? Yeah. But hey, I tell you what, give me, and I'm throwing this is on the spot for VMAC here. Give me a wild, or maybe I'll start off. I'm gonna do a wild card on offense and a wild card on defense. Just basically a guy that maybe is not, expected to be such a blowout, such a superstar or whatever, and they end up contributing pretty well. On offense, I'm going to go with RJ Harvey. I was going to go Evan Ingram, but you mentioned him earlier, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go with RJ. Reason why I say wild card is I think he's actually going to have 2 receiving touchdowns on the day. So bit of a wild card action on there. And then on the defensive end, I'm going with my boy DeAndre Tillman. The guy just makes plays. He leads the team in interceptions, man. So at least last time I looked, he did. So I think he's gonna make a play.
I thought you were gonna say Stranad, so I applaud you for at least going in a different direction.
I thought you thought I was gonna say Riley Moss.
Oh my goodness. We should have that as a key to the game. Riley Moss over under 1 PI flag. If he can get if he can stay under, we got a shot.
You've got to do it by penalty yards. So over under 50 yards.
That's even better. Yeah. Can he stay over under 50 penalty yardage? So this is for all, we need the rookies to step up. So I like your RJ Harvey. I'll go Pat Bryant. You're cleared from your hospital ball that was thrown to you. So now that you're healthy again, since I already talked about Evan Ingram, I'm going to stick with the rookie theme. And then I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know why, but Jade is going to get on the field in some, specific situation, and he's going to force a fumble. On, like Brandon Cooks, the old man, the savvy veteran. So that'll be my wild cards. I'll stick with the rookies.
That's pretty solid. And then just to pivot back real quick to the coaching, any of those openings or head coaches kind of interesting to you, like in terms of, like say, do you see Harbaugh going to, the reports are saying probably Giants, but you see him going to the Raiders or something like that, or just in general, the Steelers, whoever goes there is going to coach for 75 years. So like, what's your takes on all those things?
Yeah, it's an interesting time. Like you said, there's a lot of openings. I don't know how LeFleur kept his job either. Like after that,
dude, that was terrible. Like that was terrible.
It's not like it's the first time he's underachieved in the playoffs. I don't know what his playoff record is, but I highly doubt it's anywhere near 500. Harbaugh and Tomlin, they're saying he's not going to get a job. The thing with Harbaugh and Tomlin is they play football the old school way, which equates to, wins in the NFL. Solid defense, run game, all the things that casual fans don't really like to see, but also produce results and win games in the NFL, help them get that longevity of multiple like Tomlin never having a losing season. So they'll be successful from that standpoint wherever they go. But the two of them literally had to catch lightning in a bottle to get their Super Bowl win, right? Roethlisberger had to have like one of his best seasons of all time. And obviously that defense, and I forget the dude's name. What's the dude's name that led up the deep ball against Joe Flacco?
Raheem Moore.
Oh my goodness. Raheem the Dream. Aside from Raheem the Dream absolutely just forgetting how to play football at any level, that high school, pro, or college, you don't let them get behind you. I don't think they get a Super Bowl either. So I'm not saying they're bad coaches. I think their style is it wins games in the NFL. But are they going to be able to go to a team and bring them over the top? I don't think so. Like if you couldn't do it with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, probably one of the most dynamic quarterbacks and the best running back without a doubt of the last decade. Like, what are you're going to go to the Jackson Dart and Cam CTE Scatabo and get it done? Come on, come on.
And one quick note I have to say with Harbaugh is, dude, you totally messed up in so many ways with Derrick Henry. Like, he comes there and the first thing they say is, "Oh, we're not gonna run him as much and all that," and it's like, why? You need to work this horse. And then on the backside of things, they finally started running it after like being unsuccessful, and then in the playoffs they throw it 50 times, and then they ended up losing. And I was
Mhm.
like, and that was, I think that was last year, but like, just the, to me, he just mishandled having that great of a weapon. And like you said, you got to go at that point. It'll be interesting to see who fills that vacancy and just everything in general. It's, you know, the NFL is going to be a new look next year, because as much as you don't, you know, you don't think maybe head coaches play that much of a role, they definitely do.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're going to be able to go wherever they want to go. But at this point in their careers, I can't help but wonder if it's just, hey, I, I'm gonna, stack up cash and deal with this, stressful, super stressful job and situation and ride off into the sunset, whatever that looks like for them. But I don't anticipate just this significant turnaround of whatever team they go to a Super Bowl level, to a compete for the division, possibly get into a wild card round. Sure, if you run the ball and play defense and play that ugly style of football that most teams don't want to do, you're going to win games.
Yeah. And so his name's hitting the rumor mill again, Vance Joseph. It'd be interesting to see if
Mhm.
he gets a head coaching gig. It'd be one of those things where, you know, I wouldn't necessarily want to see him leave, but if he leaves, I wouldn't mind a third round pick.
Yeah, I think Vance Joseph and Mike McDaniel on the same team might be an interesting duo. Like you said, he shouldn't need an interview. He dropped 70 on the man.
Yeah, right.
Um, wherever he decides to go, I don't know. You look at a team like maybe like Arizona.
I
Do
could
they?
see, I could see him going to like Tennessee. Are you talking about, you're talking about Mike, right?
Uh, both. I think both would be. I would be interested to see those two team up together somewhere. But
Right.
I'm more thinking of where VJ might go. You're right. Tennessee might be there. He's got a young quarterback on one side, kind of like the Texans had at one point in time a couple years ago. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be some interesting stuff. But I mean, most importantly, guys, this matchup coming up, it's, you know, it's do or die. Leave your comments in the section. Throw us a like. Throw a subscribe. Let us know how
Mhm.
you're feeling. We're gonna be chatting just a little bit of nuggets here on the tail end. So VMAC, and first off, I mean, I do have to kind of put it out there. This poor guy is a Atlanta Hawks fan. You know, he lives there, so it's maybe not by choice. You know, tell me what you think about the Ice Tray trade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm indifferent to it. Like, I don't, honestly can care less about the Hawks. I think Trey Young is probably better than what people give him credit for. He gets huge knock for not playing defense or whatever, and I look at Luca and I'm like, that dude don't play no defense either.
Yeah,
And when I say play no defense, they obviously are trying their tails off. They just they just can't stay in front of people.
yeah,
Trey's too small, Luca's too slow. But this is the NBA. Like, do we really
no
have
defense.
players for their defense ability? Like, I know there's people like, Kobe throughout time, D Wade, who could play both ways, LeBron type stuff. But like, you're telling me Allen Iverson like wasn't a valuable commodity for any team? Come on now, you think AI was shutting people down? No. So we'll see. He probably will never compete for an NBA championship. I think they went to the Eastern Conference Finals one time. That might have been around the bubble though, so you
It's,
can't really count that
I
stuff.
mean, it's still impressive, but going to Washington, unfortunately, you know, the career's gonna sputter out unless he ends up getting out of there somehow. Or for some freaking reason they end up being the Detroit Pistons, you know.
True.
But
Yeah.
what amazed me about that trade, and the main reason I bring it up, is what they got in return. Now I'm not a Wizards fan, so I don't really know much about Crispert or however you say his name. I'm just blown away by the package. CJ McCollum, that I thought was an unmovable contract, somehow they got out from under that, and then were able to. Yeah, I didn't even see. Was it just one first round pick?
I don't remember the
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 deeds.
details on it, but it
Okay.
wasn't much. It makes you think that John Morant probably won't garner much more than that either.
You know, part of me thinks maybe the NBA was setting the table for, oh, you can't get that much this year. I guess John Morant to the Lakers is just, Austin Reeves is going to get the deal done. No,
AR-15.
so that would be dirty. I don't want him to go there.
No.
It'd be, I mean, like, if you think about it, if he goes to like any of those teams, like let's say San Antonio, like despite them having De'Aaron Fox, that would be really scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that'd be scary. So let's hope
Or
none of that happens.
you know who could probably check him pretty well would be Boston's head coach.
Right?
Yeah, I know Tatum's, point guard as well, but if you find a way to work to have Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and John Morant on the same team,
Yeah.
like, and that head coach is I forget his name. He's no nonsense. He does not play. So
Yeah. I don't see how Giannis doesn't move this year unless he's just like comfortable with just staying there the rest of his career. But he's a competitor, and that team is like in the negative cap for a long time. So I just don't see how he stays there. But
yeah,
you and I had just a quick chat on the side about Adelman proving his worth. And specifically, we're talking about how before the season, you and I were both talking about, well, what is he going to do when Jokic is gone, or or resting, or whatever the case may be. I think the guy's at least carrying his own in these regular season games in limited action, and now obviously it's a small sample size, but I mean they're producing results. What do you think, VMAC?
yeah. Got to give credit where it's due. I was, hesitant early on some of his decision making, some of the late game stuff that was going on. But there's a few things. One, I think they're 5-3 now without Jokic. And if you'd have told me that as soon as he got hurt, I'd be like, I'll take that bet. You lying. So right off the bat, 5-3. So his willingness to play anybody is paying off. He does not care who you are. If you're on this roster, he will give you minutes.
Right.
And if you're playing well in that short span that he gives you, he will reward you with more minutes, which not every coach would do. We know for 100% Malone would not be playing some of the guys that Adelman had been playing. And as a result, we probably would not have had this success with Jokic and Murray out a few times that we've seen, especially considering Gordon was also hurt, Braun was also hurt, although Gordon's finally looking more like his former self these last couple games. So first off, his willingness to play these young cats, or anybody for that matter. Second up, you can tell that Jokic has set a standard for this team. Like, you can see all of them on the sideline engaged, including Jokic. You can see him on road games. The entire team is standing up, cheering on their team, trying to help them out, trying to will them to victory. And again, it's just not something you see often in the NBA where you have the entire bench engaged. So I would say Jokic expectations of the team has helped significantly. 3, we talked about it as well, Peyton Watson. He's been able to create his own shot. Like, that was something that I never thought I'd say about Peyton Watson. For him to break people down off the dribble, hit open threes, continue his dunk, his dunking ability has been awesome to see. I'll also give a shout out to Najee. He's playing that dunker position really well. And he's also posting some cats up from time to time when they try and go small on the Nuggets. So he's been playing well. And I'd say the last thing, which is most interesting to see, is modern NBA. If you try hard, you can play well because some of these lineups they should not be winning games, but they're trying so darn hard, and they're professional, athletes. They're beating teams they shouldn't be beating because they're tryhards, which is cool to see in the regular season.
Yeah, and in general, the success that they're experiencing is, like you said, it's like a combination of effort and camaraderie. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, even Jamal Murray, like, I tell you what, we talked about earlier this season, like, could it be all-star? And then we went down the rosters, like, the potential all-stars, and we're like, probably not. I don't know. He might be rounding into all-star shape with his averages lately. So that might give him just a little bit of boost to where we finally get an all-star next to Jokic.
Yep, and it's USA versus the world this year, right? So he can represent Canada in that format. So we'll see. It's been fun to watch, and this really will shape what the playoffs look like. I think at least for the regular season, it has proven that you can and should play Jokic and Murray less. I'm not saying do this in the postseason, right? We'll look at what that looks like, but you can clearly win games without them playing 40 minutes. This proves it without a
It's
shadow of a doubt.
in my personal opinion, it's always been stupid to do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you should have them at like 32, 33 minutes and then get the other guys involved. And if you can't win doing that, then it's not in the cards. Cause guess what? It's not maintainable. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you can't just keep rolling that out. And the fact that Malone never got that, like in these stretches, how you were talking about how Adelman would, kind of play people, just whoever. Well, Malone would have played 7 people and had people uh like uh dang it, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Shooting guard off the bench.
Pickett.
No, shooting guard. Man, what? I'm stupid. But anyways, Valanciunas and Hardaway. He'd have those guys playing 40 minutes a game. And it's like, dude, you just don't get it that you can't do that. Like, you need
Mm-hmm.
to at least develop these guys a little bit. And that means putting up with 10 minutes, putting up with 15 minutes. And like
Mm-hmm.
his just pure inability to do that, it drove me nuts. One note that I was kind of thinking of, just looking at box scores, because unfortunately I missed a few. Bruce Brown's been struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Early on in the season, he looked to kind of get back into form a little bit from what he was doing before, but it seems like right now he's going through a little bit of a slump.
Yeah, I'd say. Wait, there was a short of him where he's like, "Hey, my job is to, rebound, steal, and get the ball to Jokic and Murray." And now he's still doing that, but Jokic and Murray aren't here. So
Yeah.
he's rebounding, he's stealing, and he's getting the ball to Spencer Jones, or like,
to,
you
to
know,
to Christian Brown, who's also going through a slump.
maybe we'll talk about him next. But I would love to see him just be a little more aggressive. You don't have to pass up those threes. Just take the shot and live with the results, and then a little more drive into the lane. And it's also on the team to get him the ball in fast break situations because he's fast. And he also understands how to use angles and use his body to position himself for layups really well. He finishes really well for his size. So I would love to see just a little more aggressive play from him when we have Jokic and Murray out, right? See what you can do to produce a little more. Whatever's going on, mental wise, I don't know, but he's definitely just not as aggressive as I thought he would be with more shot opportunities because there's more shots right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, he didn't necessarily flourish when he went to kind of cruddier teams where he was doing that kind of role. So
Mm,
apparently he's got his niche. You know what I mean? And
yep.
the one thing I would like to see from him is more 3-point attempts when he's open. So, like, for example, say they swing it twice and he's wide open. What I see from him is he'll think about it and then he'll just like kind of dribble and then like try to find something else. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, you need to just shoot that. Like, that is a
Hmm.
shot that I want you taking. I know you're not an elite 3-point shooter, but on this team, above average 3-point shooters do well. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
average, if you start putting them down and then gaining some confidence, because we all know in the NBA, confidence is key. Like, it
Hmm.
just needs to happen, you know?
Yeah, he has had some timely buckets. I'll give him that. There's, certain situations, certain times where we, didn't expect it or needed a run to stop or trying to extend a run. He's come up with his 2 of 4 points. No, I know it's not like that every time, but pretty close.
Not far off.
So I'll say he's given us some timely play, which is important too.
Yeah. And just in general, the bench, I mean, night and day, right? The fact that they are a positive rating, I'm pretty sure they were. Maybe it's changed recently, but just in general, like the kind of like how we're giving Adelman the flowers, and we had to give the GMs the flowers in the off season.
Mhm.
We're just, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely still excited about the team.
Yeah, I agree that the West is tough. Doesn't matter who we play. We're tied for second right now because the Spurs lost to OKC. So we're tied for second. But when you look at the loss column, we're also like a game out or 2 games out from the play-in. That's how close things are in the
Yeah.
West right now. So we'll see as everybody starts to get healthy. Again, the time you want to be playing your best basketball is after the All Star break. That's when you want to really start hitting your stride. We might not because not everybody will be healthy at that time, or hopefully they will be. So we'll really get to see what the team does and how they come together. I know CB's working his way back from injury. Maybe he just needs to go back to his clean cut look and, shave the beard off, the patchy beard, and grow his hair a little longer so he can look like a little kid again. Go back to the Justin Bieber haircut.
Right.
He's really playing limited minutes. He's has no confidence in his shot right now. What I would say is interesting is all the things that he used to bring from an intangible standpoint in his minutes. In the minutes I've watched him post injury, that is, everybody else is outplaying him in those areas. And it's partially because they're all kind of bench players, right? So they
Yeah.
have to do that try hard, play hard type thing. And I'm sure having Jokic back will help him, in fast break and open floor type situations. But I would just love to see him come back with just if your bucket's not falling, just super defensive intensity, chasing, diving, all the things that I think got him to where he was at. That would be my ask for him once he gets a little better physically.
Yeah. I mean, sounds like a good reason to me to elevate Peyton Watson to the starting lineup.
Yeah.
One quick shout out I wanted to give was Tim Hardaway Jr. So, month of January, 5 games, averaging 18 points per game, 45% from three. On the season, 41.4% from three. Just solid for us. He's been doing really well. Great pickup. Great vet minimum.
Oh yeah, late in his career, we've definitely revived and revitalized. His love for basketball. You can see it out there. He's enjoying what he's doing right now. And then as we get into the playoffs, at bare minimum, you have to respect that ability. At bare minimum,
Yeah.
there won't be this. Oh, just stack everybody in the paint. There's at least one defender that won't be able to stack the paint, and that is whoever's guarding Hardaway. Then now with Peyton's Watson most recent 3-point, shot changes, that might be a second defender that can't. Then you look, at Jamal. He'll probably be involved in pick and roll a lot, although we talked about that too. Hopefully they don't rely so much on that pick and roll. The team has the talent and ability they need. We'll see how the health
Yeah.
changes.
And that's what I was about to kind of address is if health is not a factor, I think the coolest part is that we actually have what I will call a playoff rotation, which is typically speaking 8 players. Because Peyton Watson is taking that next step. So we can include him with Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jonas Valanciunas. It's actually 9, that is a playoff rotation. So
Mm-hmm.
if we can rock 9 in the playoffs, man, I've got really hopeful outlook on the season.
Yeah. And if, depending on who we're going against, if we're going against a bigger team, Spencer Jones can step in and guard, your 3, 4s, and 5 might be a stretch, but he's pretty versatile in that area. He's not going to be guarding SGA, but
It'd be interesting to see him against Draymond Green.
Yeah, that would be Dray.
Draymond, his veteran IQ, he'd probably beat him up a bit, but Spencer, he doesn't back down, so that's why I think it'd be interesting because it would just be gritty between the two of them, and who knows, maybe it'd get Draymond to get a foul or two.
He's kind of like an early Christian Brown, just at a different position where if he can figure out how to play defense without fouling so much, he'll be that much better. But he will. I'm not saying could. He's going to see some playoff action, but I think he's probably more matchup dependent than some of the other players that we have, where it's like, we force the matchup, but he's going to get time too.
Yeah, he's so interesting because I would consider him a tweener. So he's in between small forward, power forward.
Yep.
And reason why I say that is because he's 6'7", but he's like a little bit too big to be a small forward, and by big I mean bulky. But he's like a little bit too short to be a power forward. You know what I mean? So he's just those positions. They're always tough to carve out a role in the NBA when you're in that kind of tweener status. But that being said, with his effort, that's maybe what's going to allow him to do so.
Yeah, and he just moves his feet so well. Like his defensive ability, because of his lateral quickness, allows him to be flexible in that, who's he's guarding, what position, 3 or 4. Yes, the height, presents some challenges, but he still can make like KD take a tough shot. And that's really what you would hope for in whoever is guarding like a KD is, can you make him work for that bucket? Although he's 7 foot and will raise straight up over Spencer, he'll still put a body on him and move with him laterally where KD won't just blow past him. So
yeah,
that'll be, I think, Rockets is, if I were to guess, we're probably going to end up with the Rockets in the first round. I think once everything shakes out. They've had some good battles so far, and they match up well with us, although we haven't played them really at full strength the whole year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, still plenty of time. The standings could shake up a bit, but I mean, all that being said, we've got a pretty dang good journey in front of us. Did want to real quick reflect back to the Broncos more than anything, just saying, let's go Broncos. Let's take care of business. Let's get this done. And you guys, you better be hitting up those comments because I want to hear some Broncos love in here. VMAC, thanks for joining me tonight. And you guys, thanks for joining us. And have a wonderful night. Let's go Broncos.
Peace. Go Broncos.